And we're back.
Woohoo!
So, as you finish deliberating around the table, what do you guys do?
Well, I guess I should. I guess I had some. Although I don't know now. Is that problem resolved? I guess that problem's kind of resolved.
Well, there's one thing I would like to ask Elizabeth.
Oh.
The Cabal, they seemed to be some kind of glorified vampires, like the Mummy Lord, but for
I don't think they were glorified vampires. I think they were vampires.
Yeah, but like, you know how the Mummy Lord was like, well, it's like a mummy plus, or whatever you want to call it. I was thinking, perhaps we could, would you know where we could find more about that kind of stuff?
What, vampire lore?
Specifically, well, more specifically, anything that's extraordinary vampires.
Oh yeah, there you go. I would like to attempt to learn or recall a piece of lore, or alternatively, from where or whom I could obtain information
On vampires.
about vampires.
Have you tried the old fort out near Riften?
Damn it.
Fuck you.
So
I ain't no Dawn Guard.
you're terraforming the Dawn Guard.
Sorry, I'm on Savannah's side.
Well, not in this game, you know.
I wanna be.
So, I guess first give me a religion check.
Sure.
Admittedly, I don't think the check is gonna. Like, I was more interested in where we can find the information.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
perhaps we can learn a little.
So, you don't know anything particularly about vampires beyond standard mythology. You know a few like odd like little details about them, but nothing beyond what you guys already know.
To suck your blood.
But yes, you know a little bit of myth and lore about them. You expect that basically, if you want to find more about it, you would need to. Ideally, you'd need to reach out to people who have like first-hand experience in dealing with them. Generally, this would be probably like religious orders and things. You happen to know that the Church of Lyra, the human deity, like who is responsible for secrets and intrigue, generally has a like an antithetical relationship with vampires, and generally members of her order tend to be involved in the political intrigue around rooting out and eliminating vampires. Other than that, anywhere that has access to old First Age texts will probably have more on vampires and vampire lore, because generally they're just, in modern day, they're treated like basically as just like terrifying night terrors, rather than like any specific factual research on them.
A story to tell children to get them to be good all year.
Yes.
Oh.
The reason
why I asked well, I was hoping the information might be a little bit easier to, well, an easier source. Because I thought perhaps we could send someone like perhaps Fasir and Sedani, perhaps give them a task. However,
Well, I mean,
I guess they could contact the church. Yes.
Yeah. Which church?
Well, yeah,
Like the...
that's the question. Do I know where the nearest church to this deity is? Do I know where their church is to her?
There probably are shrines and other things in various places, generally in any larger human settlement. So there's possibly a shrine of some sort in Ivywood Market. But as some of your companions know, basically like the front of the Church of Lyra is very much that. It's like a front, a facade that is put on, and then there are members who operate in secret, not knowing each other's identity and working under their own guises below that. So it's a case of getting through the front and into the back, sort of thing.
Yeah. So in other words, it's not very easy.
However, if it is something that they could attempt, just here in the local town.
Here in the town, yes. They could certainly attempt that, and your companions are capable. They do have resources and abilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's not like the most dangerous work. They can return anytime.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be that far away.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if whilst we're gone, they can receive some guidance from Fondal, and
Yes. Yeah,
I trust his judgment.
You do also have 2 retired PCs that you can ask favors of and see what they can get.
Yeah.
I generally assume that they have their own things to take care of, but
Yes. But there's no reason you can't ask.
no. But I remember promising Sedani I would give her something more
Active.
more to do. I also promised her I would join her in some stuff, but that will have to wait.
Yeah, don't have time for that right now.
Yeah, we can't take her to the Demon Island.
I mean, we could. It would just be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So remember that thing you saw that made you wrench?
Yeah, vomit. Do you
we're
want to go
going
to an
to
entire
an
island full of them?
Well, not necessarily full of that one, but
No, but
Full of similar things?
well, most of them are not as gross.
I mean, pretty much every demon you've ever met has been kind of gross.
Yeah, but there's stitched together, and then there is the slightly more natural, the more
There are
natural
some that
demon.
are more terrifying than gross, as I think.
Yeah.
And then there's the giant toad demon that you fought in a basement somewhere that was literally smelled so bad it made you sick.
That was a thing.
Yep.
Hmm.
Toad Demon!
Regardless,
He's
I
a
think
stinky boy!
I feel like this is something Sedani can do, and I think Fasera might enjoy helping out.
I'm sure the two of them would love
Yeah.
to have
If
something to do.
Kelariis, if Kelariis is against that, of course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Thesira's history in poking into underground organizations has gone perfectly fine.
Look.
This time she's not alone.
She wasn't alone last time.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
If anything, she had more than one person with her last time.
She
I
had
mean,
3
to be
people.
fair, I also really don't want to take her to this terrifying demon island. With
No,
her.
this is much safer than the Demon Island. And let's be honest, she's still poking into a church.
Yeah.
Like it's not like she's gonna be.
but-
It's not like she's trying to fight the church.
Understood.
Just
Fight the
just trying to-
church.
trying to track down people from the church who can help,
Yeah.
because they're a bit more elusive than most churches.
I think the only thing that we didn't quite consider is that we're gonna have to fill in Sadani on the whole thing, but I think that will be that
I
shouldn't be a
mean,
problem.
she's
Vondal sort of intercedes and says, I can brief the other two on everything that's...
Well, we're gonna need a couple days to prepare anyway.
yeah. And with fingers crossed, their expedition won't take more than a couple days.
And honestly, I think I'm gonna check that. I think we should probably check down if we can find anything, if anything else unique has come in. Who knows? Maybe a merchant has brought something of use. Skis. No.
Okay. So you're gonna poodle around for a few days, building up supplies, and then leave. Did I understand that correctly?
I think that is the plan,
Okay.
right? Because it also gives some time for
Yeah, 'cause I guess we're also we're basically waiting for aid and information.
well, we're gonna give. I say, how many days do we want to give it? 3? Although we haven't actually talked to V at all. I guess the real question is there a scene with V, or do we just check up on her?
It depends what you want to know.
Yeah, because one of them was like, say hi to your friend.
You walk up to V and say hi, and she explodes.
Oh my god.
No!
It was a
What's the code
ruse.
No, well, besides like warning her and stuff, I don't think, unless she has anything to tell us specifically, I don't think we would really have make a big deal out of it.
No, you go spend some time and communicate with V, but she doesn't have anything new to add. She marvels at your adventures and is concerned about the general outcome of it all, but nothing beyond.
Same.
Yes, unless anything happens after those few days, we move on or start traveling towards. What's it called? Ooh, the harbor, ports. Unless anyone else.
Castport. Okay, so
Unless anyone else has suggestions.
nope. Okay, so you guys spend some time in and around Ivywood Market. Any mundane stuff you want to buy, that's fine. Go ahead and buy as much or as little as you want. And in terms of exotic stuff, there's really not that many traders passing through that are actually selling sort of traveling gear or adventuring supplies or anything like that out of the ordinary. Most people seem to be selling cheap tat for the Midwinter Festival. Like gifts and things, like carved toys and the general sort of winter's fair of goods.
However, that does give me an idea. Remember how we gave Facera that like carved wooden scorpion carving? What if everyone got their own like small carved thing? Because we wanted to use that as an identifier before. However, if we just give everyone like a single one, then we'd never have to think about it again. Or well, hopefully. Something people would be up for.
I
We
mean,
already don't we already have something like that?
Oh, it's just like a carving of each, just
Well-
so we have like.
Yes, some of you have unique identifiers.
yeah.
Well, actually, oh no, only one of you. No, two of you have. No, one of you has unique thing. Everybody else who has one is no longer.
I mean, I've got a pretty unique identifier that would be hard to copy unless you absolutely knew it was there.
Because Arya still has the glass arrowhead that Kelariis made.
Well, Grim also has something that I
Oh,
sent
yeah.
off. So if we're using that as unique identifiers, then like Grim also has one, unless he
Oh.
fucking chucked it out a window.
Exactly.
As soon
Yeah.
as he got it.
What does he have? Because I don't have that on my notes.
I sent him.
It's quite a while back.
Hold on. Where?
Oh, it's Google Docs. It's like
Ah, shit. I know I sent him something with the letter that I sent him. That's why.
Yeah.
yeah,
don't remember if I have a copy of that letter. I have a letter from Grim, but I don't have one to him.
I can try digging really quickly.
That's-
So
yeah.
I have the...
I found the letter at least. I have to read it. But...
I think it was a small bird. Like I think it was.
Oh,
an eagle
yeah,
because
like
of
an
the
eagle.
amber
Oh,
thing.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Grim fucking chucked it out a window as soon as he got it. I don't know what he did with it.
Oh, that's fine.
Maybe Grim was just mad. And he was like, no.
Fuck this.
No. No, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody has like a unique item.
So yeah, everyone has a unique item except for Kelariis.
I have a sword. Does that count?
Yeah, that probably counts.
Oh, I was gonna say I've not. I have the thing that Tallithsyr gave me like fucking ages ago that I always wear. So I don't know if that counts.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, you have the glass. Is it? It's a glass flower, I think.
It's a dragon, I think. Unless I have that. I should probably know the. Thing
Yeah,
that
I
have.
don't remember.
No, I think it's a dragon. I gave a glass flower to V.
Ah, yes, probably that's probably what I'm remembering.
There's a lot of glass stuff
Yep.
that got handed around, basically, is
Yes.
what we're learning today.
Yeah, because it was you got Thalithsyr gave you the thing that because you taught her how to do it.
Yes, I did. And it was the thing she gave me before I left way back. Well, I say way back when. That was like what? That was like.
Like a year and a half ago. No,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe 2.
year and 9 months ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, other than that, there's like Cheap Tat and the merchant who sold you gemstones previously has additional diamonds if you want to get more diamonds. He doesn't have a huge amount, but
Should we maybe invest in another like casting's worth of diamonds?
got a casting's worth from Vandal, remember when we left?
Yeah, but should we potentially invest in another casting's worth? Like have two
having two
Like
uses
maybe-
rather than one.
Yeah.
I feel
Do
like
we-
it wouldn't we be a little bit of over investing? And considering like we have 1,000 gold, I'm expecting us to spend. We're gonna spend probably like 200 on rations. Another probably 200 to 400 on the boat.
200 gold's worth of rations is a lot of rations, FYI.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
maybe 200
expensive
might
do you
be.
think
Oh yeah,
rations are?
that is also true.
Yeah, that's like 400 days worth. That seems excessive.
Well,
We're
divided
prepared
by.
for the rest of our goddamn lives.
Well, divided by like. I guess we're only 4, so that's yeah. Okay. And that would still be 50
Yeah,
days.
100 days each. Yay!
No, that's 50,
Yay!
right? Oh no, I said 200 gold, so that's like double. Never mind.
Yes. It would be 100 days worth of food. It would be a bit excessive. Unless you want to buy really fucking expensive food.
We want
No.
the royal rations.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We definitely don't want that.
Like a bottle of fine wine with every single meal.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
guessing we're gonna spend like 500, probably like 500 on the trip. So I guess we can afford the extra diamonds.
It's your choice.
Oh, and they don't lose their value, so I guess we might as well. If you think we need it, then we might as well grab it.
Yeah, it's probably not a terrible idea.
We'll just take it out of the party funds.
Yeah,
'Cause that
so,
feels like
Yeah, 300 gold's worth of diamonds you can buy.
there we go. Be sure to add them to our collection.
Yeah.
Probably just put them in Kelariis' adventure because Kelariis is the only person who
I
can
thought it was
cast it.
500 golds for Vandal's spell.
Their Fondal spells
For-
500.
Well, Vondel had a different spell.
Yes.
That's-
Kelariis doesn't have the same spell Vandal has.
Oh yeah.
Kelariis has Revivify, which is the
Oh, okay.
within a minute.
Yeah. Another 300 golds worth of diamond dust.
Yes.
Look, I'm doing my goddamn best, okay?
Sorry,
Only
you
a
guys
half
were
healer,
mentioning
not a
Vandal-
full healer.
You guys were mentioning Vandal. I thought you were buying more diamonds for Vandal for some reason.
No.
But look at his own fucking diamonds.
He bought us some diamonds before.
He did buy you some diamonds, yes.
Can't believe. Been so rude to Fondal.
Okay. So, is that all the purchases you're making?
Well, I haven't mathed out the rations. Yet,
Okay.
Clearly, but
Clearly.
So, skipping on a little bit while you do that. After the 3 days have elapsed, I guess. What's the most interesting way to do this? So, Minnie and Jayla, can you, for your companions, roll me investigation checks?
please be good at investigation.
Right.
If you don't have proficiency in it, it will just be flat intelligence, I believe.
It's,
Well.
it's,
Hey!
the-
Oh, damn.
I'm so proud of her.
The Sarah turning up.
Okay, so where's my
love
percentile
how they both have plus
dice? Okay.
You
Okay.
know the greatest thing about that? Tallithsyr has a higher intelligence modifier than I do.
Oh my god.
Maybe it's because she went to school.
She did get. They both went to school.
Yeah, we've been over this.
Well, maybe she was paying more attention in school while you were off, like, daydreaming. I don't know what you were doing.
No, I was studying the blade.
Yep.
Get your facts
Oh
straight.
my god.
Yeah, you were
Oh my
skiving
God.
to do more sports.
Unless you were in math class, I
Ah.
studied the blade.
I studied
Yeah,
the blade.
now who's laughing, Kelariis?
I mean, still Kelariis.
Can't
She
believe-
can literally smite people off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not.
I feel like
smart,
Kelariis
so...
Wow.
Her words, not mine.
I did not say that.
In the words of Kelariis, some people think they can outsmart me. Maybe. I've yet to meet one who can outsmart Smite.
Yep.
Okay.
I got us 60 rations for 30 gold, right?
Okay.
I can't believe you thought we were gonna spend 200 gold on rations.
Well, I may have like
In
I may have
what
like
world?
over dramatized it a little bit, but
Oh my god.
So, Sidani and Tallithsyr make some progress in investigating things about vampires. In order to make this like a fair thing, I'm going to give you 3 questions. So yeah, you can ask me, the DM, 3 questions that you want to know about vampires, and I will give you those facts.
How do we kill him?
You know what? That's fair.
I guess that well, perhaps we should start with a question that clarifies what they are, because these are not your average vampire. I guess like what would we call them? Like or like vampire lords a thing, or something along those lines? That
Are
sounds
there
like a reasonable
I guess are there different classifications of vampire?
Wait, what is their
Or what are different classifications of vampire? Whatever.
You know, yeah, what is their what's it called? Social
Hierarchy?
structure. Yeah, hierarchy.
Okay.
That's the word.
So your first question is, what is their hierarchy?
And yeah, or like yeah.
Yeah, if any.
Okay, so the hierarchy of vampires is when an individual is bitten by a vampire. If an individual dies from that bite and are buried in the ground, they will become a vampire. They will become a vampire thrall. They are basically they are essentially consumed by what is known as the red thirst, like the desire to drink blood. And basically, if they don't receive regular feedings of blood, they essentially become deranged, feral, very much like the things you fought in the tomb, where they just rush the first thing they find and try and feed off it. Thralls are capable of disguising themselves like as functioning members of society, aside from the like pallid skin and extreme photosensitivity, and the fangs. But generally, a thrall is pretty identifiable because they're pretty much always juicing for the next feeder that they can get. If the vampire that turned someone allows a thrall to feed on their own blood, they become a fully fledged vampire. And they still thirst, but they are no longer consumed by the need. They don't become as deprived if they don't get it. But they essentially blossom into fully fledged vampires with their own sensibilities and skills and abilities. And these are the ones that you see that are sort of vampires that can blend into society and function as individuals.
But the important question is: those new vampires, do they still are they still connected or underneath the original, or are they?
No. Once if a vampire allows them to feed, they are no longer under the direct control of whoever turned them.
Is it, and there's no hierarchy thing of like I made you, so you belong to me, or that's just like That's
That's pure. That purely exists for the thralls. It's entirely possible that a vampire may swear allegiance to the person who gave it life, but hey, that's as much as you would any other equal in society.
That's like a person by person basis.
Yes. Yes. Thralls are known as being enslaved to a bloodline, whereas they literally cannot refuse a command from the vampire that created them. But once they become fully fledged vampires, that is alleviated and they are equals. Though not necessarily in terms of power, because obviously the longer you are a vampire, the more skills you can learn.
I guess we should probably ask the question that Luka asked instantly.
How do we
How
kill
do you
them?
kill them? Okay, so in answer to that, killing the physical form of a vampire is impossible unless you first destroy their resting place. Vampires are required when they sleep to rest in to basically rest in a place where they have stored a portion of the soil from their original burial place. If you can destroy that coffin, sarcophagus, whatever, and then kill them, they are destroyed. And the easiest way to kill vampires is to expose them directly to running water or sunlight.
I guess that leaves third question: how to track down I feel like we should ask something some advice as to how to track them down, but I'm not sure we should track down the coffin or track down themselves. What do you guys think? Or maybe you have completely different suggestions.
Yeah, I'm not sure how necessarily useful that's gonna be.
Well, if you can't find their coffin,
Well, because but tracking that down is gonna be. I don't know if there's gonna be a universal thing of, keeping them there. Like all vampires, put them in like these kinds of spots. Like not necessarily. And even if there was, the kind of people we're up against would go against that to throw people off the scent.
well, but we need some kind of advice. Like there could be some trick, as in like the closer you get to a vampire's coffin, the more it smells like lemons. I don't know. Or you're having a stroke. That could be the case, but
What?
What?
But there's some weird like how you're supposed to be able to find water, but it was like a stick, or like was like the what are they called?
Divining rod.
Was a divining rod. Like, is there a vampire divining rod, basically?
So basically what you're asking is, what's the easiest way to identify a vampire?
Well, I was thinking more that like we need to find where they their original grave or their coffin where they rest. But I don't know if the others have any better questions, because I'm not sure what else we would ask.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We could ask how is it common for vampires to work together, but
That seems pretty useless.
it's
Yeah, like it'd be interesting, but I think that we probably have better questions we could ask. I mean, I guess on the note of like finding and destroying their whatever resting place they have, like their coffin, I guess we could ask like if there are any special things we need to do for that.
I feel like that kind of was included in the vampire thing, right? On how to kill it.
Yeah, I will say, like, as part of that answer, let me just bring up a vampire stat sheet. Um. duh, 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 duh. Hang on. Oh, it doesn't actually tell me in this sheet. That's really annoying.
Just realized vampire with access to simulacra might lead to some strange situation.
Yeah. So there is no specifics on how you have to destroy the coffin. I will say, because like that was part of the question. It's just destroy the coffin in whatever way it's possible, and then kill the vampire. But as a caveat to that, it is possible for a vampire to set up multiple resting places.
I mean, my only thought as well is, if a vampire is turned by another vampire and therefore doesn't have a resting place grave, how the fuck?
Well, you need to be buried, so you have a grave.
Yeah, being buried is the trigger. Dying to the bite and then being buried is the trigger to be resurrected as a vampire. Which is why the Radiant Dawn burn bodies.
Yeah.
Well, if there can be multiple resting, then I guess we could ask if we can disable them, considering what we saw. We saw the foray, I believe,
Yes.
with stake through its heart. Considering we might have to destroy quite a significant amount of their resting places potentially. Do we want to simply incapacitate and see if there's a way to do that? Would that be a good question?
The only thing I will say about that is you're only going to get a general answer. So, what applies to one may not apply to another.
Can't even come up with 3 questions.
We always do this. It's like, come up with 3 questions, we get 2, and then it's like,
Well, it's because there's always the things that you really want to know, and then there's the last thing that's like some of this might be useful, but we don't know if these questions are any good.
I'm really struggling coming up with what to ask, to be honest.
We're also probably missing like a super obvious question to ask somehow.
There's one question that might be a little silly. Can we weaken vampires somehow?
I mean, I
Well,
thought of a potential...
Yeah, phrase that as a shorter question. What are a vampire's weaknesses?
Yeah. That might be helpful.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best one we've come up with thus far.
Yeah.
Alternatively, or if somehow we'd be able to bundle it into one thing, probably not, but what are they, like, I guess, resistant to?
So the opposite. So what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? But like,
what are their strengths and weaknesses? That's one question. Boom.
Well, I don't know if that would be considered like covering
I feel like
different things. So.
If you ask what are their strengths and weaknesses, I'm not going to give you all of them. If you ask me what are their weaknesses or what are their strengths, I will give you all of them.
I have also just thought of another question.
Yeah.
Are the effects of a vampire's bite reversible?
Do we want to? I don't think we.
I feel like that's not very useful for our situation.
I don't think we have the luxury to ask that.
Yeah, fair.
I feel we should.
go with weaknesses then.
Yeah, I do
think-
think just weaknesses.
Yeah, because if we know their weaknesses, we can avoid. If we just play into those, we can avoid their strengths automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Okay, so you learn the following weaknesses of vampires. A vampire cannot enter a residence without invitation from an occupant. Which suddenly Elizabeth has a flashback to Illyria asking very specifically to be allowed inside.
Oh. Fuck. Yeah, I already brought that on myself, didn't I?
You did. You learn that vampires are harmed by running water. They have sunlight hypersensitivity, where sunlight literally causes them deals damage to them, and whilst they are in sunlight, they are unable to perform at their full capacity. As well as, yes, if a piercing weapon made of wood is driven into a vampire's heart while the vampire is incapacitated in its resting place, it is paralyzed until it can be removed. And that is
So
what you
these are like the bog standard vampires.
But
Yeah.
now we know in character.
Yes.
Or well, depends. Do they come back before we leave?
So this is their report to you as you're leaving.
Oh, okay.
This is what they managed to learn in the time.
Ah, okay. No, I'm actually surprised they got this much that quick.
Yeah, nice work, guys.
Well, I rolled some percentile dice based on Thalithsyr's 21, and yeah, it was clutch.
Cool.
I guess just for clarification, do we know if it has to be natural sunlight, or is it like daylight would also count for that, for the effects of that?
See, I believe the spell Daylight specifies that it is sunlight.
Okay.
So, yes, the spell Daylight will suffice.
Okay, makes sense.
Because that's why I allow it to do these
Right.
armor class thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Guess that means we should probably make ourselves some mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grim's like, yes, get to do some whittling.
Oh, yep. And just any whittling to make a weapon as well.
I'm now just imagining, like, as the four of you are traveling on horseback, like Grim is just sitting on the back of somebody's horse, just like just carving off bits of wood on this stake and just whistling and just like flicking the bits into the wind.
There is one scene that I always imagine with vampires that would be amazing. You know how palisade walls always have like the pointy end? You just imagine somebody tears one of those down and then just uses it as like a battering ram.
Oh my god.
Except it only works when they're incapacitated in their resting place in this universe. But
Well,
I've got an even better idea. Someone just slam dunking the vampire onto the palisade walls.
wait, you said it only works whilst incapacitated in their resting place.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just paralyze them by stabbing them with wood.
Like, well, like
What?
in the heart,
Why not?
baby, you know?
No.
But yeah, I'm still saying it's more impressive to like slam dunk someone onto the palisade wall than it is to pick up a bit of the palisade wall and use it as a battering ram.
See, the thing about slam dunking them onto the palisade wall is, whilst that won't paralyze them in this universe, it will go a long way to killing them. So
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, if you could
Uh.
do that to anyone, I think it would probably go a long way to killing them.
Yeah, but it'd be badass as hell.
A log-sized hole does wonders
Yeah.
against greatest of foes.
Slam dunk, motherfuckers.
Yes.
But the thing, it'd go a long way to killing
There's
him. What if it doesn't kill him?
There's one realization that I also have. Like considering where they can have multiple like coffins that are made for them. If we found their burial ground, like their original spot, could we have a coffin made and just put some dirt in it?
I like where this is going.
So you have like a mobile cage.
Oh my god.
What?
Grim.
We would need to find their
No,
original resting.
I don't think
don't
Rob's gonna allow
think-
this.
I don't think
Just-
that'd work.
Give them a forced respawn point.
Yeah, I don't think that works.
I mean, I will put it out there. You can certainly try.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the answer is no. That
I mean,
doesn't
yeah, we just put a bit of the dirt from their original grave in the coffin with them, and then paralyze them, and then we can carry their coffin around.
Well, paralyzed.
That
I'm
would be
assuming
so
that works.
ridiculous. How are we gonna
Ah.
get a coffin into this battle?
No, no, we'd
That-
use
that-
their coffin. Wait for them in their
Oh.
resting place, fucking impale them, and then fill their thingy with dirt, and then just chuck the coffin into the water.
What? No, no. I was thinking that we find the original resting place, grab just a bucket of their dirt, and then bring a coffin along on like a cart or something.
Yeah.
However, yeah, there are some issues.
It would be very
There's
funny if
a
we were
lot
able
of
to do.
issues.
It would be very funny if we were able to do that, and then, like I said, just drop the coffin into the ocean. Bye bye.
Oh well. But yeah, we should probably start traveling.
So, as you guys set off along,
As we said, I'm assuming we're going to Castport,
you are, yes,
like traveling via the main road.
yes.
Yes. Then I will send a message to my parents saying we have departed Ivywood Market, heading to Castport along the main road.
Okay.
Hmm.
The only thing you get back is thank you.
Nice.
Okay. So, as you travel for a few days,
More hill giants.
you head along the road to the coast, past the village you defended from hill giants.
Ah.
And
How are they getting on?
They seem to be getting on alright. Not being attacked by hill giants.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
It's kind of disappointing, but good.
What?
Disappointing.
Look, we need
Grim.
more hill giant kills to our names.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I don't think the
So-
Hill Giants were going to come back when a dwarf threw a hammer through one of their heads.
Yeah. So, yeah. As you head along the road, you travel for about a day and until it starts to spot with rain.
Yeah, I thought I had rain.
Yes.
For a genuine
Um,
second, I thought that was actual rain. I was like, is it raining outside? No.
It is actually raining outside here. But,
Oh, it's not here.
yeah, so it begins to spot with rain. You set up camp, rest, and
Rest in the Learman's tiny hut.
oh, you're gonna rest in the Learman's tiny hut. Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can, I guess.
You cast Learman's tiny hut. A small glowing dome appears that you all camp inside.
Yeah, but you know what the cool thing about Learman's tiny hut is? We can't be affected by spells while we're in it, so
Yeah.
they can't like
good.
mess with us while we sleep.
Well, it's good. To
Unless
get
they cast a spell magic on Learman's tiny hut.
Yeah, but whatever.
Ah.
They have to be here to do that, though. It's not like they can scry on us from like ages away.
But yes,
The silence.
Arya. Arya,
Yeah.
whilst you are meditating, you being in tune with nature and aware of the goings on in the world, you listen to the sounds of the rain and as you are. It feels strange to be sitting inside this Learman's tiny hut as the rain patters about like 5 feet above your head and then just sort of like runs down the sides, and you're just like, this is so weird, because you're used to just sitting in the rain or sitting under a tree where you're not quite completely covered.
Now you're nice and dry.
But you become aware of sort of the vague rumbles of what could be thunder in the distance, that seem to persist almost all night. And even into the early hours of the morning as you're sort of getting ready to break camp and the dome fades. Yeah, and you set off for the second day.
Nice.
Just waiting for that one day where the dome disperses and there's just another demon assassin just waiting outside.
Yep.
It's like,
like,
no.
I couldn't get in, but hello. Good morning.
I tried to knock, but you can't hear me because it's silent. I don't know why the demon assassin is Christopher Walken.
I was gonna
Also-
say, why?
Also, the dome's not silent. Also, we can see from outside.
No, but the
dome.
creature has the silence aura.
Oh well, yeah. But also, we'd be able to see it from inside.
Except it's invisible.
Oh yeah.
Like, they thought about everything.
Yes.
They
It
really
is,
did.
it is a designer assassin.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's a nice Learman's tiny hut you have there.
Be a shame if something were to
Would it?
happen to it.
And then it just dispels after 8 hours, and we're like, fuck.
Okay. So as you reach sort of like the crest of the hills, that begins to like roll down towards Castport, the rain stops being sort of like a consistent like trickling downpour, and really begins to sort of pick up. And yeah, as you can hear, basically you watch as you come up over the hill, like there's rolling clouds over the port, and ever since Arya, you've been aware of this ever since like setting off for the day. You've heard like constant thunder rumbles and cracks, and the wind has picked up, and yeah, you're walking into a full-blown storm here.
Cool, 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 cool.
Wait,
Can't wait.
Elizabeth's just gonna comment like, well, we are definitely not going to find anyone who'll sail us now.
It looks like we're
Not
gonna
in
be
this
delayed.
weather.
Well,
Even the craziest sailor would look at us like we'd grown a third head.
You'd be surprised how many people will still go out in this sort of weather, but they're not exactly the most, they're not considered the most sane, I guess.
Oh no.
This is
Well, this is the thing. Our mission's already insane, is what I'm saying.
If you
Like,
throw enough
we could
fun at
probably
it,
get away with
probably-
a storm or going to an island full of demons. I don't think we could find someone who'd happily do both.
It's not ideal.
And also, I like a little rain, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Even this far away from the port, where like the eye of the storm seems to be like basically just like over the town itself, or perhaps just off the coast of the town. Even here, like the rumble of thunder is very loud. And the driving wind and rain is making it hard to sort of stand here and have a conversation. You're sort of having to like hold your arms up to your faces. It's not pleasant weather. You are soaked through.
Up.
But yes, you Learman's tiny hut up and camp again.
There you go. At least there you go. Aren't you glad we got Leomund's tiny hut?
Yep, it stops you getting rained on.
Yeah. Nice and dry as we sleep. Comfortable and dry.
And yeah, the glow from the dome, because the dome glows ever so slightly. The flashes of lightning illuminating it, sort of like cast strange shadows through the dome. Arya, I presume you're keeping watch again.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favour and give me a perception check?
I can.
Also, a purely flavor thing, but I imagine the tiny hut, it has like a hexagon pattern on it.
Yeah,
Like a,
Yeah, it's
sure.
a great perception.
Yeah.
Okay. Being a ranger, you've sort of been out in your fair share of storms, and they hold sort of like a bit of a fascination for you as well, with Melora being the goddess of the wild and of storms. There's something in a storm that, like, it gives you a little bit of a comforting connection at times. But as you're watching sort of this storm like roll over the bay with very, very little signs of subsiding anytime soon, you catch occasional glimpses of it's almost like something is moving around inside the cloud. Too difficult to tell a shape or size or anything, as sort of like it's only like brief moments of like the lightning flashes illuminating the cloud that even give you like an idea that something is like moving. It may just even be a swirling within the clouds, but something doesn't quite sit right with you about this storm.
Well, that's always comforting.
Yep.
Okay, well, after 8 hours, tiny hut fades, and the rain comes back in again.
Great.
And yeah, you set off on another rain-sodden day down the cliffs towards Castport. And yeah, so you all. I didn't actually prepare this. Hang on. Here we are. Except it's not nearly as bright and shiny as it was.
Yeah.
It's cold and wet.
It is cold and wet, and there is a somewhat somber mood that hangs over the port as you roll in. The streets are beginning to resemble rivers in some places. And there are very few people actually out and about, and those who are sort of have thick oil coats like held up over their heads, and they run across streets from building to building. The wind and thunder here is so loud, like any exchange between even your party has to be held with raised voices. And yeah, it's pretty grim here.
Yeah. I mean, Elizabeth's got one word. Tavern.
Yeah, we should find something.
Okay, you duck into the nearest tavern. And
We should not.
We might as well stay here.
Oh wait, yeah, you guys stayed at a tavern here before. Let me see if I
Yeah.
wrote it down.
I'm not sure if we went to stay at the same one because I remember us having. Well, I say us, me and Arya having history.
Oh no, you didn't stay at that tavern though, did you? That was just the tavern where you went.
Different tavern.
That was the one where you went to meet the sailors, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a different tavern. We didn't. Yeah, we stayed at like a slightly posher tavern, whereas you guys went to a tavern down on the docks to meet the sailors.
Yeah, because I seem to remember you actually went to some fairly upmarket place last time. Let me see if I
we
can
did.
bring it up.
So I have 2 names written down from the last time we were here. I think Burrower's Nook was the place where there were misadventures. or
Yes.
adventures,
The misadventure.
and
Yeah.
the other one was called the Starlight Opal,
Yes, Starlight Opal. That was the one.
Cool.
which sounds fancier, so I assumed that
Yeah.
that was the nicer one.
Starlight Opal.
Yeah.
The Starlight Brigade.
Like part of me saying we should return to the Nook because we'll be legends.
Yeah.
But you can return to the Nook for drinks if you like. Don't
No.
know if anyone will have risked going down there though.
We're gonna have to end up there at some point, or at least in the area. That's where the sailors are.
Why did I not name my note documents better? Here we go. Yes, Starlight Opal was the name of the tavern that you rested at.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, you duck into the Starlight Opal, the inn.
Once we're inside, I would like to send a message. Send a message to my parent. We have arrived. I've immediately forgotten the name of the town. Well done, me.
Castport.
Castport. Yeah. We've arrived in Castport. We're staying in an inn called the Starlight Opal.
Okay. Yeah, you don't receive a response to this one, but you know it's been received.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll probably.
I should
actually, I'll
technically you
probably
should
add
be
on as
rolling
well.
for this, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. I will also like add on that one. Probably won't be departing for a while. Nasty storm.
okay. Yep. Received, but yeah, no response.
Yeah.
So yeah, the rain dies down and you guys are completely dripping wet. But yeah, even in here, like the wind whistles through chimneys and gaps in doors, and the rumble of thunder is still audible outside. But the woman behind the counter is sort of almost surprised to see you and says, "Oh goodness, well, hello dog, what are you doing in here?"
Yeah.
What? Let's say.
Sorry, my dog is loose.
Oh, I thought they were talking about Lyra.
No.
Yeah, I thought they were talking about Lyra as well. No. Elizabeth was to say, we picked terrible weather to travel, I'm afraid.
She said, yes, quite. Please find a place by the fire and get yourselves warm.
I love how we just all accepted that as perfectly normal.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, it's amazing that more people don't question Lyra's presence.
I mean, in towns like this, they're sort of like, is that with you? And you're just like, yes. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah.
That's a whole wolf!
That's a big old wolf.
People are used to elves and their
Weird way.
oddities.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, also Elizabeth's probably also like, is there a bath? The ability to bath.
Yeah, the one sort of like bustles around and says, yes, please, we can certainly arrange some stuff. How long do you intend to be staying?
Well, we're hoping to set sail from here. However,
Yeah.
Says,
Probably
yes,
not a good idea to sail with the weather.
I'm not sure you'll find anybody who's leaving. It's not anytime soon. This thing doesn't seem to be letting up.
it's been going on for quite some time then.
For about 3 or 4 days.
Oh.
Nah.
That's unusual.
Yes, I don't think we've ever had a storm this intense for this long before.
My magic senses are tingling.
Right.
Well, you already felt old about it before. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if we're looking to depart, we should probably pay on a daily basis, because then we don't pay for rooms we don't end up using, or days we don't end up spending time there.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Well, considering the way we do things, we might as well. Yeah, no, you're right. So it's like we might as well pay in advance for a few days.
Normally we know exactly how long roughly how long we're going to be there for. Or at least we know we're going to be here for a while, so let's just book 2 weeks in advance. But we're planning on leaving pretty quickly from here, so don't want to book a week and then only use 4 days of it.
Well, considering travel is limited, sure. Otherwise, we could just make the
So,
classic arrangement, pay it in advance, get a refund.
Yeah, probably actually. I guess we might as well pay for a week then.
A week?
I hope not. I don't hope we're stuck here
Yeah,
for
I
a
don't
week.
know. 5 days.
Maybe just pay for now.
Yeah, just pay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, considering that
Pay
we
for
went.
day
a
at
night.
Yeah, just pay it day at a time.
Yeah,
A week
actually,
is a long time.
considering we want to leave as quick as possible, maybe it is best to pay back.
Yeah, pay it day at a time.
Yeah.
How do we want to do room arrangements? That's a real question.
The one says, well, we're actually fairly light on guests for this time of year, so you've got the choice of rooms depending on what you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What room arrangement do we want? Do we want to be fairly grouped together because of
Yeah, we probably
Potential
want to have
neighbors.
at least one other person, and we want to pair up probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just 2 rooms for 2.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that works.
If that's possible.
She says, certainly it's for arrangements like that I can do you 5 silver per person.
First,
Okay.
well, I guess we can make that work.
Yeah, that's just 2 gold a night.
Well, 2 gold's a lot of money.
That's 1 gold a night.
If
Oh
No,
wait, no,
not-
per person.
Yeah, 5
Sorry.
silver per person.
5 silver per person,
So 1
2
gold,
gold per night.
2 rooms.
But it is fairly high quality living, so
Yeah.
Well, we can do that.
And like I said, we're not hoping to stay here for too long.
However, our destination might not be popular among the sailors. So, would
Yeah.
you happen to know some of the more adventurous types? It's- Or
she sort of shakes her head and says, I'm afraid all the adventurous types are usually down by the docks, and I
Of course.
tend to stay away from there,
Yes.
particularly in weather like this.
That's
well, I
perfectly understandable.
thought maybe someone had a reputation. But
Um,
I'm sure we'll find something out there.
There are a couple.
It's getting late.
The and as she's having this conversation, the door like bursts open behind you, making the woman jump, and half of you like turn and put hands on weapons. As one guard seemingly sort of like carrying his companion like pushes through the door. They are both absolutely soaked and sort of like trying to stagger along in chainmail, and the other guy looks like he's sustained like a fairly hefty injury to the front of his face.
I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, seeing this, Elizabeth's just gonna be like, "By the gods, what happened?"
The man sort of like dumps his friends down, who's like holding like the front of his head, and he says, "Bloody wind picked up, took him for a tumble over the dock wall."
I guess Elizabeth probably instinctually look at Kelariis.
I mean,
do we want to reveal our powers?
I don't think
I don't see what's wrong with healing this guy. He's a god.
Also, I don't think revealing our powers is necessarily a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I assume I can do something for somebody who took a tumble.
I mean,
like,
let's be honest.
yeah.
Also, like, let's be honest here, right? We're fucking gonna start asking around the docks if they can take us to an isle that is rumored to be infested with demons.
Yeah.
People are gonna ask questions.
With a cursory evaluation, Kelariis, it looks like his nose is broken and he may have like a concussion and possibly head injury of some kind.
You know, the standard for taking a tumble over a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can fix the nose and be like, hey, get some rest, buddy. Also, maybe don't fall asleep for a bit.
So you go over and like lay on hands on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to take much to patch up a broken nose. So.
Like 5? Less than
Yeah,
5?
5 will cover him and put him out of risk range.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Just kind of a.
So yeah,
you don't take a nap for a while.
Yeah, he sort of like rubs his temples and says, "Oh, I don't know what you did, but thank you."
Magic, bitch.
They sort of like look you guys up and down in your like hefty gear, and the guy who you just healed says, excuse my questioning, but you folks look mighty geared up.
We're expecting quite the resistance we're getting.
That sounds super ominous.
Yeah. Elizabeth. After that, Elizabeth's gonna say, "We're not being evil. We're fighting evil." You know,
Right.
adventurers.
Well, we're planning on we're worried about the local wildlife. If we want to get to one of the islands.
What local wildlife?
So you like
Why do you people have to make every encounter sound so bad?
you
No,
like
it's just when Grim says shit.
Yeah, it's only Grim who makes it sound that bad.
Okay, well, do you want to tell them? Yes, we're gonna go over to like an island of demons.
Just say we're
gonna have to tell
adventurous.
them anyway.
Why are we gonna have to tell them?
But we're gonna be telling
He-
sailors that.
he
No.
sort of he plays him and says, you're not like bounty hunters or the sort, are you?
We're a mercenary
Yeah,
guild.
mercenaries.
Yeah,
Mercenaries. You wouldn't have to be looking for work.
Oh,
Depends on what kind.
Well,
I suppose we're somewhat stuck here for the moment.
the town council is looking for somebody to look into all the goings on.
what goings on?
And he sort of like gestures to the thing. Well, sort of. All I know is this thing whipped up out of nowhere, and apparently the people who saw it coming in said there was a boat in front of it or something, and that they've landed up somewhere down the coast. And we can't go nowhere because we've got to sort of look after the town. But town council's looking for somebody to go out and find out what's going on and find out if it's related to this storm.
I assume they would appreciate if we go to them first in order to tell them we're doing this. Wait.
That's usually the procedure if you want to get paid.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Brent's like, all right.
I was more.
It's like,
I was
we
more
can do that.
concerned. Like, it could have been that there was simply a bounty on it, but
Yeah. Well, what time? Yeah, what time is it about now? I imagine it's evening.
Not quite yet. It's still like afternoon-ish.
Okay.
well,
We could probably go. We could probably go in a bit then.
Perhaps I can make an appointment or even get a.
I mean, yeah, would be able to see.
The
him straight away?
The guy who's not injured sort of says, "Well, I think it's best if he stays here, but I can take you."
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind, we might as well go now.
Well, got to go back out into it at some point.
Too true.
Sort of like puts his hood up, like gets ready, braces himself as you all step out back into the storm. Yeah,
I suppose
Sorry, carry on.
if we're going, I'm gonna mention the things I saw in the storm to the others.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of it exactly,
Yeah,
but
something being in the storm.
yeah, there was something in the clouds.
Well, while we're going there, what can I recall of magic that messes with the weather?
Give me an Arcana check. Okay. So there's a couple of spells that can affect weather, but to create like a storm of this size and potency, you don't know if that's usually usually spells create a concentrated effect of weather. This thing spans out like this thing was hitting you when you were like 2 days away. Like this thing is the area of influence on this is huge. If this is a magic phenomena, it's being it's something much more potent than just like a regular spell.
Yeah.
Ship. Someone in the clouds.
I'll share that information.
Okay.
Yeah, that is concerning.
Well, let's see what I guess perhaps the council has more to say.
Hmm.
I assume they are a little more in the know. The regular
Yeah.
guard.
You battle your way through the heavy weather, and you can, as you make your way through the streets, you can see why this guard's companion took a tumble over the wall, because there's times where like the water is running like down the streets so slick that it's difficult to find traction, and as the wind blows, it takes all of your effort to not be pushed aside. This is a very powerful storm.
Grab onto the wall or something.
Yeah. And yeah, eventually you come to another building, step inside, and basically it's you're led through into a larger stone-walled chamber where there's probably about 9 individuals sat around a table. Some of them are seated, some of them are standing. And from as you, whoops, I turned the wrong thing off. as you come into this room, a flash from overhead illuminates the chamber, and you can see that there's a large glass roof to this meeting room. And a number of humans, dwarves, and one half-elf make up the majority of the occupants of this room. The guard comes in and salutes and says, "Pardon the disruption, my lords and ladies, but well, I heard you were looking for people to investigate the goings-on, and well, this group of mercenaries just come into town." And the commotion around the table stops as they all look up towards you. Stepping out from behind the table is the figure of a dwarf, who's wearing red silk. I want to say red silk waistcoat. And he sort of steps out and says, "Well, this is quite the assortment. Pray tell, who are you?"
Fluffy says we're quite the assortment when there's dwarves and half-elves too.
Yeah, but we are dragonborn,
you're
full elf, gnome, and
a blue person.
Yeah, and a blue person. Yeah.
Somebody had a painting.
Elizabeth will probably pipe up and say, we are representatives of the Amber Eagle.
Oh.
Okay. Some whispers go around the chamber, just sort of Amber Eagle? I've heard of them.
Ooh, we have a reputation.
You may. Well, if
just think about what we did about
yes.
what 5, 6 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Well, you may know us from
You
helping
may know
out. From retrieving the princess over in Silverhall.
Helm's
Helm's Blessing. Yeah.
You're mixing two town names together there.
The dwarf sort of says, "No, I hadn't heard of that, but that's quite impressive."
Well, and then that's just one of many things.
So it would seem.
Humble.
What exactly is happening?
Well, this is where we're not so sure. We're hoping that people perhaps with your skills would be able to investigate. All we know is about 4 days ago we were alerted to the fact that the guard had spotted an infamous chromatic separatist ship heading towards the port, chased by a huge storm. At first, we were quite excited as we aware of these separatists, and they serve as pirates in the nearby waters, interrupting with trade and generally hijacking vessels. And it seemed to us that, in some cruel irony, the storm was driving them towards our port, and we had intended to wait for them to pull in to avoid the storm and then arrest them all on the spot. But they stopped about a few hundred miles out from the actual port itself, and the storm rolled straight over them. It's been sitting over the town ever since. Up until recently, we didn't really have a clue as to what was going on, but some of the sentries have noticed that a number of rowing boats have come ashore, even in this terrible wind, and taken up positions on the shoreline, and they've seen a few members of that separatist group moving to and from the boats to the shore and back again. We're not really sure what it is that's going on, but we have our suspicions that if they're able to move around unmolested in the storm, then perhaps it is something to do with them.
Yes. does
That
sound
is
like
certainly a troubling situation.
The truth of the matter is we can't afford to send anyone out in case something happens at the docks, but hard pressed enough keeping order amongst this terrible storm. The amount of manpower it's taking to make sure half the damn city doesn't go underwater.
oh. Guess we'll well, first order of business then will be to track down this the ship. Was it off the shore or
Yes, it's a decent ways out to sea, and they've been sending skiffs to and from the boat, ferrying goodness knows a number of them there, a number of their crew over.
Do you know roughly where the skiffs are landing?
Yeah, it's perhaps a half a day's walk down the beach from here, or down the coast from here.
yeah? Something tells me that we're gonna
Which
be entering this
direction?
ship.
North or south?
To the south.
To be clear, these you are certain these are pirates?
They fly the flag of the Chromatic Separatists, so basically pirates. Yes.
Well, just making sure that because that kind of steps makes things a little more violent usually. But we will we'll be sure to head over.
We'll take
Well,
care of them.
if you're willing to take this, then I'd be greatly thankful. It's ruining trade, and the amount of repair bills we're going to have to pay to put half the roofs back on this city is going to be an absolute nightmare. So the sooner you resolve this, the better, and
We'll get on it as fast as we can.
it'll be 1,500 golden for you if you do.
Wow. It's
That's
really
like
cool.
Truth be told, the storm going away wouldn't be too bad for us either.
Yes, we
so
could say we were hoping to sail ourselves.
Well, I can tell you here and now that that's not going to happen unless this storm goes away. So, if you can find out what's causing it, then
Then we'll happily kill two birds with one stone.
Indeed.
we will set out tomorrow morning. Is there anything else you're aware of that we should be aware of?
I'm afraid my understanding of what's happening is limited.
Well,
All I know is this is no natural storm.
then
Yeah, that's kind of the impression we've gotten.
It's definitely not natural, and it's
well, that's okay.
powerful magic if it is magic.
Well, the good thing is you don't need to know everything. This it just never hurts to ask. It's up to us to find out.
Yes,
Let's stop it.
I don't wish to understand it, I wish it to be gone. As do the rest of my colleagues, it's crippling business.
We will do our best to resolve this issue for you.
Well,
Oh.
I guess we will leave you to your matters, unless there's anything else to discuss.
If that's all you need, then go ahead.
Excellent.
They sort of return to their planning.
Right. I'd quite like it. Right. I'd like to get to that bath now.
The guard who accompanied sort of turns to you and says, "Well, that went well. I've never seen the council agree on something that quickly ever."
Well,
Troubled times.
well, it turns out a storm lasting 4 days and destroying large parts of the city is a great unifying force. As are most disasters, to be honest.
Well, normally when they're paying for something, they like to know they're getting their money's worth, but I guess you've
Well,
really
we do have
drawn
a
their
little bit of a
attention.
reputation.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't make them pay
I'm
up
pretty
front,
sure they'll be spending more than 1,500 gold just repairing the city.
and
Much.
and as long as you don't make, well, as long as they don't have to pay up front, then no harm, no foul. But
Like I said,
we don't need
disasters
to
can
teach
be
you
a
about
strange
mercenary
unifying factor.
economics. It's...
What did he
Unless
call
ever
you
decide-
again? Amber Eagle?
Yes, Amber. I don't know if you've heard about a new keep being built. Just, just a couple
Vaguely,
weeks
yeah.
over.
Yeah, didn't you guys have something to do in Mardan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, we've set up a keep near the town of Ivywood Market to the east.
Something about fighting off snake people?
That's the gist of it.
Yeah, there's some weird cults out in the desert.
Yeah, I expect.
Sometimes they try and interact with civilization.
The worst we've got around here is the dragon people. No offense.
I give him a look.
Hell of a look.
You're not a dragon person. You're dragonborn, right?
Yes, well,
Different.
there could be any number of cults. They just don't like to play their hands quite as openly.
Well, yes.
Though I guess I should ask which ones in particular.
Sorry, GM doesn't understand the question.
Sorry. He said the dragon people.
Yeah.
Like, is he just
Talking
like...
about the chromatics?
Yeah, I was like, is he just
Yeah.
talking about the chromatics, or is there some other shit going on that...
But considering what you know, you assume he is referring to the chromatics, because, I mean, last time you were here, you were literally assailed by pirates.
Well, yeah. I just wasn't sure if maybe there was something else going on that, like, had changed since we were last here, but...
Yeah, you say, is it just the chromats you have trouble with? And he sort of says, oh, yeah, it's most of them. We're always a bit on edge here, because, I mean, they never really conquered us. I mean, like, we signed a peace treaty and stuff. Like, your lot, I mean, but sometimes people get a little nervous when the big columns of soldiers turn up. Can be a little unnerving.
But yes, we'd better rest if we're going to deal with this problem.
He sort of taps the side of his helmet, and you're dismissed.
Yep.
So, your friend, or I don't know if it's your friend.
He's more of a co-worker, but he's an alright guy.
Anything we need to tell him, or because we're heading back there anyway? He's still there.
Well, I expect just make sure he's alright, and then I don't know, get him to stay the night or something. I don't want him walking home in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend...
Understandable.
He's no trouble. He'll sleep on a bench or something.
We'll try to look up.
Alright, well, best of luck to you.
You too.
Yeah, and you head back out into the downpour.
Yep. Run, back to the tavern.
So, yeah, as you are running through the streets, I guess everybody give me a perception check.
What do I spot? Not much.
Haha!
I am rolling very badly.
Okay.
None of us did
Hey,
great.
Kelariis, do you want to swap dice?
No?
Okay.
Just apply our bonuses
So-
to each other's dice roll.
As you're running like cloaks overhead, a bolt of lightning streaks out and hits like one of the nearby spired roofs and conducts down through the building, and the rumble afterwards. To some of you, it sounds like a beast in pain almost.
Oh my god, is there like some sort of fucking dragon up there?
Gonna have to remove a splinter.
Ah!
But that's all you notice.
I guess when we get into the tavern, Elizabeth's first comment is just going to be, yeah, this is bizarre.
I mean, something's not right no matter what way you look at it.
No.
The only problem I have is can't really like the lightning can't really be creature, can it? Well, like beyond like an elemental, but elementals, do they feel pain? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, most creatures can feel pain.
I mean,
It's
it
still alive.
could still be a dragon. It's my theory.
Yeah, most living creatures feel pain. It's a
Yeah, but like,
natural part of having a living body.
but like, you like when you summon an earth element, that doesn't really display a lot of emotion. Or wait, well, I say summon. When
Well-
you see an earth.
Well, I guess it depends what type of elemental you mean, I suppose.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little disconcerting if Elizabeth thinks elementals feel pain when she just callously summons them and then throws them into combat
That's
with
true.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, I guess I mean, I suppose it depends on the nature of the elemental itself. As many elementals are simply the element itself bound by arcane power. If they're not a physical body, I don't imagine they would.
This
But
is a philosophical discussion that we can.
yes,
Although actually,
we can
have
save.
some magic could shed light on it, but some other day.
Yes, right now I'd like a hot bath and have to go to bed.
Okay.
Also, Bagsy not sharing with him. Points at Grim.
Sure. Unnecessarily rude, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Look, I'm still not over the whole, whatever the hell that, I'm still not over that whole potion fiasco.
You say as you push open the door to the tavern.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, as you step inside, like, again, you're just already sodden. You step inside, the woman is already there, like, hurriedly, like, pulling some towels out and passing them to you. And,
Thank you.
she says, I don't quite know how to say this, but, I think you have a visitor.
Excuse me?
Elizabeth looks very happy and just goes, "Where are they?"
She points
Oh,
into
yeah.
the side room, or
Probably
into
the
the
junior.
common room.
Yeah, I'm gonna rush over to that room.
So you burst into the room, and
Yeah. Well, the number one question is, of course, how are they presenting?
yeah, lying not quite on the there's like a long couch in the middle of the common room, lying about 2 feet. Well, no, not quite 2 feet. Maybe a foot above the actual couch. Is a dark blue skinned, masculine-looking figure. Basically wearing like what looks like it's almost like a yukata, except it's got long sort of like a long like tasseled sash along with it, and popping grapes into his mouth, and just sort of like humming to himself as turns and sees you like come through the door, and he's just like, Ah, my shimmering topaz.
Yeah. Her first reaction is to just go, Rashad! And run and give him a flying hug.
Okay.
My shimmering topaz.
Yeah, because she's Elizabeth Topaz Agiad.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Family have gemstone nicknames.
You are like quite literally whirled up into a hug.
Yay.
The rest of you like walk in to see this fellow just like literally lift Elizabeth like 3 feet off the ground before putting back down. He says, and so these must be your friends.
Yes. We have Quagrim Daemaris. He has many more names, but I'm not going to go through all of them. He is the leader of our mercenary group, the Amber Eagle. Then there's Arya and Blair. And then we have Kelariis.
The figure quite literally glides across the room.
Yeah. And he goes, this is my parent. I suppose dad at the moment.
Hello.
Arya's just like, what?
Good evening, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Sort of reaches out and with a like the hands are sort of like very sort of how best to describe this? The hands are like a very sort of like chunky but very soft as he sort of shakes all of your hands and says, "Absolute pleasure to meet you all. So good to know you're taking care of my little one."
I'm not that little.
Yeah, you're little to me.
Yeah, they're all much better at fighting than I am as well.
Yeah. Perhaps I will get a chance to see.
Well, if we're going to actually set sail, then yeah, probably. Because I'm not sure if you've noticed this storm, but it's not exactly normal.
Yes, it is a little on the odd side. I'm curious.
And I will give him and I will fill him in on what the council told us.
Well, I guess before you go too much into that, I would also like to mention, you arrived surprisingly quickly. Like, should we just say what this is actually all about? Instead of dealing with the current problem, mention a problem that we actually need help with?
Well, yeah, I guess we'll go upstairs then.
Oh, okay. No need to stand on ceremony then.
Oh, sure.
I mean, if you want to stand on ceremony.
But ceremony is such fun. I mean, usually when I get introduced, there's at least 7 trumpeters.
Well, no one here knows how to play, so slight issue with that.
Just there is a sly tap of the nose and a wink and says, "I'm very important, you know."
Yes, you are. I'll give him another hug.
Oh, genies.
Well, well, we could just stay here.
Yeah, this is the chaotic dad.
Yeah, but like I don't. Well, considering we're like in a side room, right?
Yeah, you're in a common room, but there's nobody else here.
Yeah, so we might as well stay here, to be honest.
Yeah, good point.
No.
Very quiet.
Oh.
Here, there, matters not to me.
So yeah, I guess we fill him in.
Okay, so you run through a brief update. Sort of hums and haws for a moment. Does sound like quite the conundrum.
Well,
Yeah.
the main problem is, of course, that without knowing what the artifact that we're gonna find does, we have no idea where to store it safely besides perhaps another dimension.
I mean, I could find out what it does once we have it, but we have to have it.
So I think perhaps the most important question here is, what exactly do you expect me to do about it?
Well, we are aware that genies can hop between, so we were hoping that you could possibly take it with you to protect it.
And well, Elizabeth suggested that you might take it towards to your home city, the airplane of air, I believe.
Yes, let me see if I remember what the actual city is called, because I did give it a name and I can't remember. Oh, scrolled way too far. No, it's not in there. It sort of leans back and says, well, how much do you know of the realm of the genie?
I'm gonna be honest, very little.
Yeah, same.
I had a feeling that would be the case.
I know exactly what you've told me.
Which is not a lot, for good reason.
Yeah.
It is a realm of particularly complicated politics. There are a great number of factions that are vying for control of a lot of the power of the genie. I mean, the realm of air has a great deal of magic available, and not many denizens that make use of it. At least not in the quantities that the genie do. To the point where our magic has become... it has become necessary to regulate how much magic we use. Long gone are the days of the First Age where the genie has handed out wishes like candy. No, we cannot get away with that anymore. It is, there have become a lot more checks and balances for these sort of things. And rightly so. My kind were phenomenal for meddling in your realm, and it was beginning to become somewhat of a disaster. And particularly
Am I
as...
listening to you advocate for rules?
There's like a grin that just sort of says, I preferred it when there were less rules, but sometimes I can see the necessity in the rules. All I'm saying is, I can provide some assistance, but the moment I go back to the plane, every little bit of assistance that I've given you will be scrutinized to the finest degree and dissected with the sharpest of knives. I must be careful.
Even if it's just teleporting something between realms,
Well,
that's
that you would
not really easy.
It's basically accepting an item.
Yeah.
It's not just accepting an item. What you're talking about here is potentially an ancient magical relic. If I were to take that and not disclose its existence, people might see that as an attempt to seize power. People have done it before.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming it's not exactly a good idea to walk in and say, hey, I have this thing.
Yeah. There are certain parties that I would be concerned about it falling into their hands, but that is only a problem if I possess it. If I were to... No, that is a terrible idea.
Can't be as bad as his ideas.
So,
Damn.
Drag Grim.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Not that's why I'm pointing to, because there's literally 2 men in this room.
Well, my ideas got you this far, so...
the realm of the genie is... it is not just a complicated political mess, it is also incredibly unsafe for anyone who is not a genie. It really is no place for mortals. That being said, I put off doing this for a long time, but if you were to summon me at the right moment, I could use my powers to bring you to the Palace of Zephyrs. The only problem with that is I would almost immediately be dragged into a hearing, and you'd sort of have to make your own way home.
I imagine that would involve persuading another genie or something along those lines.
Well, unless you have some way of getting back yourselves, or... So, there are various gates in the genie realm that lead to other places. The one to the material plane is closed, pending a lot of investigations. But it is possible that you could circumvent around the planes a little and make your way home.
I suppose the merit to that is it'd be very hard to track us, but very hard to navigate in the first place.
Well, considering you would prefer if we didn't hand off the magic artifact to you, how would you feel about if we only call on you if it turns into an emergency, or would you require some time?
Honestly, I would prefer the emergency call. It would take a lot of concerns away from me, but I understand that that's not always practical for planning. I can enforce my availability for a short time if you let me know when.
Well, yes, Elizabeth, you can take care of that.
I may be very important, but I am only a vizier. There are a number who are much higher ranked than me who might demand my presence for whatever reason, and unless I have a good reason to decline that, it is difficult to get time where I can simply leave uninterrupted.
Well, perhaps we can make sure it remains to a minimum.
Well, I suppose the big problem we need solving is once we have it, we have to be able to quickly get out before whoever these cabal are, presuming they've followed us, can actually get to us.
Well, like we said earlier, if it becomes if we think we can't get out, we'll send out the distress call, and then hopefully, there's a good chance we'll be able to hold out for a little bit, and hopefully we can get our emergency
So, small footnote on that note. I've done my fair share of adventuring and plane hopping in my time, but I have never really studied the art of combat. It's not really my thing. That was always your mother's side.
Well, I was not expecting you to fight. It's more,
Yeah, we wouldn't be
Yeah.
expecting.
Yes,
That's our job.
the only thing I'm saying is that for the moment that I'm in that place, and he sort of like pats his physical form and sort of says, I'm somewhat vulnerable here. I would be relying mainly on you for protection during that period, and no offense to yourselves, but if worst comes to worst, I'm taking my daughter and I'm getting out of there.
well, I guess the one thing we need to know before we get some, would be, how long would it take you to cast this extraction, this spell, in order to get people out?
Let me...
If it's, Well, 'cause if it's gonna take longer than a minute, then we might be in some trouble.
Okay.
And it's not as much of an emergency as.
So, the actual transportation in itself is instant. It'll be no more than a handful of seconds before we will be on our way. The problem is, I cannot determine precisely where it is that I will arrive. And once I do arrive, we will all need to be together. We will all need to be linked, holding hands. If that is not possible, then anybody who is not holding hands will be left behind.
Well, that is something we can work with, and then.
If it comes to a heat of the moment thing, it may be difficult to coordinate, particularly if I show up somewhere that I am not expecting.
No, but. Well, I guess that just means that we need to make sure we warn you properly in time.
As much forewarning as possible, please. It will make my life a lot easier.
But otherwise, it's nice to meet you, I guess.
Yes, and a pleasure to meet
With,
all of you.
I haven't actually heard that too much about you. But I guess
Oh!
that's like.
I am
part of the-
shocked.
It's part of the mystery of.
Look, I don't want to be annoying by constantly talking about me all the time.
How could that possibly be? No, you wouldn't be talking about you, you'd be talking about me.
Oh my god.
Okay, me and my family.
Can't
Well,
believe you don't
but
talk
don't
about
worry.
me.
We are aware of your existence. It's just it's the whole free.
Besides, I've been busy. We've been busy.
Ah, yes, too busy to talk about your family. After all, what could be more important than the people who loved and raised you?
Oh, fuck's sake.
Grim just earned a new title, Homewrecker.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Damn, Grim.
I just really want to know how all of the three parents,
at this
but then
point,
I
it's
also
just
don't
like-
want to know.
Yeah, at this point, Elizabeth probably lightly punching him, just be like, just shut up.
Oh, well, but you seem like a very nice.
Oh, see, your friends like me.
For fuck's sake.
No matter what I say, I will make it worse.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Elizabeth now at this point probably just gonna look at him and just go, I really missed you, you know, when you're not around.
yes, well, I miss you too.
Give
But
another
we
big
cannot
hug.
spend all of our lives together. You must grow up and learn to do your own thing sometimes.
That's what I'm trying to do. No, that's what I am doing.
Just as I told you to do.
Occasionally a little too much, but we'll find a balance.
Oh,
Oh.
shh.
God damn.
Well,
I mean, at this point, I'm just gonna look at Graham and be like, do you want me to tell him about the potion? I'll tell him about the potion.
That potion wasn't my fault. Go ahead. It's a good story.
Well, it's kind of your fault. Like, don't just fucking drink a drink that a stranger has given you.
Well, we met.
free drinks are the best kind of drinks.
Exactly. See, this man gets it.
Anyway.
Well, with that sorted, yes, I look forward to hearing how your adventures go. I'm quite excited to use my powers once again. It's been quite some time.
Oh well.
I'll see you then, if, you know, the emergency happens.
Yes, I'll be standing by.
Well, let's hope we'll meet under non-emergency situations.
Not just, this much once again, just be like, love you, and we'll jump up to try and hug him again.
Just sort of like holds you, messes with your hair, puts you back down. Well, I don't usually do this when people are watching, so if you wouldn't mind.
Should we turn around?
Yeah,
or-
Elizabeth will just start shove
Just chivvy
shooing
him out
you
of the
guys
room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just shooing you out.
As the door swings closed, there is a small.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
Honestly, that went significantly better than I was expecting.
Who would have thought? I have more in common with your genie part than I'd ever imagined.
Ugh,
We both like free
No.
drinks.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
See, as most people like free drinks. I don't think that's, It's not like you both like the same book, it's not quite the same.
Don't worry. You'll only hear about this for quite some time.
Like, what next? Oh, you both like doing nothing when you can? Yeah, sure, everyone does.
Good. Well, I don't know if you... Well, you should probably get to your bath if you hadn't already.
Yes.
Prepare for a long day tomorrow. Something tells me we're gonna have to board that ship.
Quite possibly. That is not gonna be a fun row.
Nope.
But it'll be worth it.
Are you gonna be okay fighting Chromats?
Excuse me?
She fucking hates Croman.
Yeah, see, that's the-
Absolutely, she's gonna be fine.
No, see, but that's the reason why I'm asking. You might, you don't want to go too hard on that you put yourself in reckless danger. That kind of fine.
I think I
Yeah.
have learned a lot since I was younger. I say younger, that wasn't that long ago, but
Yep. I've learned a
You're
lot
still
in
younger. It's still
a
technically
year
correct.
and 9 months.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
It's only been a year and 9 months since I almost died. It's fine.
it's been a little longer than that, but not by much.
But yeah, I'm sure. Look, I'm sure we'll all be okay. At least for the clearing the storm part.
Never hurts to ask. Oh, right. We should ask them when the skiffs go back and forth. Oh well. Guess what? I'll just have to
Yeah, well,
mistake out.
The intention from him saying that was, it's been inconsistently constant.
Ah,
So
They keep doing it, but it's not
Inconsistently
like patterned. They're not doing it
yeah, so
like.
yeah, they're not doing it at specific intervals, but they've been coming and going since.
well, I guess that just means the plan remains the same. We're gonna have a stakeout.
Steak.
Yum yum.
Okay. So with that, I guess you guys turn in for the night.
Yep.
And yeah, we will call that a session, I think.
Beautiful.
Good.
Didn't quite get
Managed.
as far as I was expecting, but
Rob's
Yeah.
like making all these fucking monsters.
Whoa.
And we're like, bitch.
Our
Not
planning
today.
phase took a little longer.
Yeah, like I said, guys, we can completely avoid any of his monsters by just doing lots of RP.
Admittedly, next session, if we
Like-
manage to avoid combat, next session, I would be incredibly surprised.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, we're definitely
Yeah.
gonna fight some stuff next time.
yeah,
Boarding an enemy ship.
you also forced me to come up with things for an NPC that I was not expecting to use in this sequence at all, and now is an integral part of your plan. So
Yeah,
Yeehaw!
you're welcome.
Excellent.
Yay!
You're
us
welcome.
Throwing your plans just down a fucking hole.
yep.
Yep.
Gonna turn the
Yes,
Ember
you.
Eagle into a family business. Whole family can join.
Wow.
It's fun for all ages. That's not true.
Well, depends on what they do. Maybe they can be the chef's assistant or something.
It's fun.
Help
It's
them out.
fun for all
Chef
ages as long as you're legally old enough to carry a weapon.
What is the legal age to carry a weapon in this universe?
That depends on your race.
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure for you, it would have been like 100.
No, because I started training before I was
Yeah, I
100.
was gonna say, surely
Yeah.
it's before that, because you want to be
Slightly
starting
before that.
training before.
Yeah, you probably started training at like 60, something like that.
Yeah.
And even then, like, dexterity is something you want to start with immediately.
Yeah, when you're young.
But yeah, but there's a difference between training and using a real weapon, and just being allowed to carry a real weapon in the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also true.
Whereas there's Kelariis, who's been training with live weapons since she was 10.
You know,
Yay, Dragonborns.
casually, it's fine.
And then there's Elizabeth's siblings who probably have been play fighting since like the age of 6.
Yeah, but I feel like that's.
Are your siblings human?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're all human.
Elizabeth is the only part genie.
How the fuck did that happen?
Because I've got 3 parents. I've been through
Yep.
this.
Right, but like, how did that happen? That's
So
not an
many
answer.
You'll,
Sorry, how did this happen?
you'll have to
How-
ask them.
How did I was gonna say how did 2 people have a child? I wonder.
How did 3 people have a child?
Have you ever heard of this thing called polyamory?
Yeah, but like, you clearly have like, I mean,
That parent is as much a partner to Elizabeth's mum as Elizabeth's dad.
yeah, I know that, but like the genetics are what I'm getting at.
Why?
Because
Not
There's a magical gender fluid genie who can magically change their form, and a human woman. What do you think happened? Put 2 and 2 together. God damn it.
oh wait, so the human dad is not a part of your genealogy, like technically?
No, well, technically not.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was where the
Okay.
confusion was coming
Yeah,
in.
you're really
Yes.
overcomplicated that.
I was trying, yeah.
She
okay.
has 3 siblings who are technically the offspring of her human parents.
yeah, they are
The offspring of her human
half
mother.
siblings.
Okay, that's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Alright.
I get it. Like, the way I understood it was like that the parents had like a baby, and then the genie like touched the baby with genie forces, basically.
Genie forces.
Genie forces.
No.
But it's like it's like you're the chosen one.
You're the
Like,
No,
chosen
that's V.
Yeah, V's the
Yeah,
chosen
that is
one.
V.
Except V technically only has 1 biological parent and 2, like, spiritual parents. So
Yeah.
wrap your head around that one.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
a lot of people with confusing families in this.
I feel like mine is probably the most normal.
Yeah, definitely.
Claris's.
Also,
Yeah,
I
of
wonder how.
course, yeah.
I think it's also up
Normal.
there. Yeah, up there.
Hopefully, you won't get confused at the 2 aunts who are partners who have a child.
Yeah, Grimm's Grimm's parents are perfectly normal, if a little eccentric.
Yeah.
Well,
Fair.
it's fine.
They're gnomes. It's kind of required.
It's kind of what they do.
It's required to be normal.
Yeah.
Hey,
You haven't read the letter his dad sent him.
yeah. But hey, guys, don't forget Elizabeth's dad's sister and sister-in-law and Elizabeth's cousin.
Yes, we get it. You have a long family tree.
Yay.
That's fine. I was just trying to figure out
No,
genetically how 3 people could have a child, but it's
Well,
fine.
they didn't.
I get that
3
now.
people in a relationship, but only 2 had the child.
That was not clear to me before now.
Well-
How else did you think it happened?
I was trying to figure it out.
On that bombshell, I think now is a good time to say goodnight. So yeah, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.